All right, what's up, familia? Welcome inside the pad. Hope you guys are doing good. Keep in between the lines. Got your loads secure. All right, man. I got a guest here with me, man, and I'm glad he's here with me. Um, if you guys watch the round table, we talk about so many different things, and one of the things was why I got this individual on here with me because he's got a life experience to with this topic. Before we get into all that, homie, go ahead and introduce yourself, big dog.
What's up, familia? My name's Fernando, but everybody calls me Nando. I currently reside here in San Diego, California. I'm originally from Northern California, from a small town called Hollister. That's where I was born and raised. I don't know if you're too familiar with Northern Cali. It's about a half an hour. If you were going from here that way, and say you were going to go visit the was it Mike from the Salinas report, you would actually hit Hollister first, about a half an hour before Salinas.
Okay. So, what's around the population in Hollister?
Growing up, when I was a kid, it was probably around about 30,000.
Okay, gotcha.
And then it blew up. It blew up because it turned into a bedroom community. I can remember, I'm 42 years old, bro, and I can remember when half the town was covered in orchards, apricot and apple orchards. Well, it's funny because walking home from school, the orchards were always a shortcut, so we'd always have the ranchers chasing us down, to get out of the orchards, because they thought we would be stealing the apricots and stuff, but it was just a shortcut,
And how'd you end up in San Diego?
That's part of the story.
Okay, got you. Okay, all right, I got you. So all right, man. So you're watching first of all, man, gracias, homie, for reaching out and coming on here. First of all, hey, Fernando, does Nando always go with Fernando? Does everybody shorten everybody's Fernando into Nando?
For the most part, some people say Fernie.
Okay.
I don't care for Fernie. I used to get in fights when people call me that. But I always say Fernando's my dad and I'm Nando because I'm Junior, and that's a trip, bro, because I've never been around so many Fernandos in my life because it's just a trip. Like I said, my dad's Fernando. I'm Fernando. My wife's dad name's Fernando, and her older brother name is Fernando. So it's like when we're all together and they say Fernando, it's like, which one you talking? That's why everybody has their own little name, like me and my suegro are the only ones that they call Nando.
Okay. With so many people named Fernando, dog, you definitely got to break into nicknames. And I'm with you, homie. Yeah. I'm with you. If my name was Fernando, I wouldn't care for the Fernie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want the Fernie. The Nando's cool, though. I'll rock with that. But no, I wouldn't be down with the Fernie part, man. But hey, dog. So gracias, homie, for reaching out to me and gracias for watching the round table, man. And we definitely appreciate, everybody that watches and supports the round table, man. We just like to chop it up about different topics. And one stuck out, man. And you hit me up. You got at me. You're like, hey, man, I got a lot of life experience in this. And I'm like, all right, cool, man, because I think this does happen. This happens a lot. I got homies and everything. I got a little bit of experience in it too, man. And I'll be sharing my experience as well. Yeah. And it's like, it happens a lot, dog. And it's like, damn, homie, where's like, morals and values and commitment and everything like that, man. Exactly. It's just kind of like a free-for-all. And everybody just like, hey, well, you know what? If somebody ain't looking, and I'm gonna go and dip over here. And that basically what we're talking about is relationships, cheating, and all that. So Fernando, first, man, let's talk about you, brother. how'd you grow up, man? Mom, dad, single household?
And just real quick, the reason that topic stood out so much to me when you guys were talking about it is because I love how there's different perspectives of the round table, and the way I came across the round table was, I'm sure where a lot of us have come through, like a lot of these different pages is by give a shout out first and foremost to Pastor David Rocha. You know, that man, what he's helped me with in the last few months as well, because I've been on my walk for about 5 years, 6 years now. But just in the growth in the last couple months, that just by listening to him, man, the guy he is who he is. He is who I mean, you can probably you would agree with me here, is the man you see on video is the man you see in person, because we got to have dinner with him a few months ago when he was down here, and that was just amazing. But yeah, the round that this particular topic really stood out to me because it seemed, and no disrespect to anybody, it just seemed really one-sided when you guys were talking about it.
Okay.
It seemed that's the way I took it. Not everybody else takes it a different way, but it just seemed like it was from the outside looking in.
Okay.
And of course, us as guys, our first instinct is like, I would never deal with that. I would never put up with that. We'll never come back from this. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to get that out there real quick. But
yeah, no. Well, first of all, man, shouts to Pastor David. I cannot speak of that man enough, man. That's definitely a mentor of mine. Big time, man. Big time. I love that, man. And his wife Sharon Rocha and their daily devotionals that they do. So that's definitely somebody that I look up to, man. So hey, man, I'm glad. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you found the round table through Pastor David, man.
Yeah, well, it was through the interview that he did with Paul.
Okay.
But I used to listen to him, you know, back in high school. You know.
Oh, wow.
Okay. But so well, back to me, I grew up, you know, in Hollister, and my grew up in what seemed to be a functioning family. Okay. And I say that because, you know, every family has its problems. You only let out to see what you want people to see, you know. But you know, my parents, they like to party, you know. Unfortunately, my mom, they got divorced when I was 13 because of the party. But you know, life took its course, and we're here today, you know. And my dad was a truck driver, so a lot of the times, me and my sister were at the house alone, you know, with my younger brother, as he was on the road, you know. But you know, it's just crazy how things work out, bro, you know, because my grandparents ended up taking us in, because my dad was on the road, you know, 85% of the time. So my grandmother stepped in and said, you guys, you know, at that age, you guys can't be staying alone. So you guys come live with us. And that's the way it was. You know, that was, my grandparents were, to me, were my structure of what a marriage and what a family looked like. You know, they were just loving and embracing people. Unfortunately, I just lost my grandmother at 90 years old a couple of weeks ago. But she was the heart of the family, you know, and so it was just from there, you know, growing up, it was, no matter the structure was there with my grandparents of what, like I said, of what a marriage looked like, of what family looked like, but we get caught up in our own you know, minds and our own ways of thinking of what we're going to do with our lives, you know, and how life should be. So we start venturing out, and we start dabbing in things that at young ages that we shouldn't. Fortunately, I was never really big into drugs, just because of what I've seen it do to my family. But I was just into there was from probably about, I don't know, about 15 till about the time I met my wife. Excuse me, there was just something in me where I really didn't care. And I was always really good at hiding the way I felt. Everybody, everybody always says I've always been the life of the party, always joking around, always making everybody, that's what I do, man. I love to make people laugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, I had all these things inside me that I didn't know how to deal
Right.
with. So, but I met my wife, she got pregnant, when I think I was 19 or 18.
Hey, if we could back up just a little bit. You
So-
said you went to go stay with your grandparents because your dad was on the road. What happened with your mom?
She she was lost for a few years. She was, the drugs got the best of her. But I'll retract that statement. They didn't get the best of her. They got a hold of her for a certain amount of time.
Gotcha.
She went to rehab, and then she straightened out her life. And now today she's striving. She's been sober for about 5 years. She's been sober from the drugs for years, for I'd say over 20. But from alcohol is probably the biggest addiction that runs in my family. She's been sober from that for about 5 years, and it's amazing.
Good.
It's amazing.
Good, man. Nice to hear that, man. My brother had an alcohol problem for many, many, many years, man. And
Yeah.
he's about 4 years sober now.
Yeah, right on. Amen.
Yeah, good, man. I'm glad to hear that. And just to piggyback on that real quick, man, I think that kind of goes with a lot of families. It's like the grandparents are like the family to look to, but the parents, some way, somehow, something right there kind of got lost. A lot of people that I know, man, their grandparents are together, good, loving, couple, and the parents are divorced, and some of them hate each other.
Yeah.
And I see that when you said that, I'm like, you know what? I'm starting to think of everybody I know, and it seems like the grandparents, los abuelos, it's like, man, good, loving people and a good, loving couple, man. And it's like but the parents or the people that I know, it's like, oh, they're divorced. They can't be around each other. They hate each other, or they're just divorced and just went off their separate ways. So yeah, there was definitely some sort of disconnect right there, man. But
and it was like that. It was like that for quite a few years, where they couldn't stand being around each other.
Right.
But now they're cordial with each other.
Okay.
So we're all older, obviously, so they really don't have to deal with each other. But like I say, I grew up in a small town, and even though my mom and my sister are the only ones left in that town, everybody knows everybody. You know what I mean? So if I haven't been to town in years, but the minute I pull into town, my dad is already gonna know that I'm in town. You know what I mean?
Got you. Yeah.
Or my mom, or you know what I mean?
Got you. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So are you married when you get her pregnant, or
No.
she becomes your wife after?
She becomes my wife while she's pregnant.
Okay, got you. All right. So take us from there, man.
So I had always said, and she's probably gonna smack me in the back of the head, because she never used to like me hear me say this. As I always said, I wasn't gonna get married because I didn't want to be a statistic. So that was why I didn't want to get married, you know. But as cliche or whatever as it sounds, no matter, you know, going once we get deeper into the story is I still, my grandparents were married for 52 years before my grandfather passed.
Okay.
I still valued that. Still, that was something that I still like look up to. Like, you know, you just didn't hear about that anymore. So she got pregnant when we were 18. We got married when she was a month before my oldest daughter was born. And then we've been together ever since. It hasn't been easy. I think my wife likes to say is we've been through so much together that we've pretty much raised each other. And it's who we are. It's how we've been able to get to where we're at today. So yeah, I mean, we did good. We were good for, I should say I did good for the first 7 years of our marriage.
Okay.
Never even thought about cheating, never even thought about, like, this just wasn't on my radar. You know, and then it happened. You know, it happened. I ended up stepping out of our marriage for the first time about 7 years into it. And then from there, it got worse. You know, I go ahead.
Okay. Okay. First of all, one thing that you said right there, that the two of you raised each other. Man, I like that saying. I've never heard that before. But that is such a great saying for young couples that want to build a life together. I believe that is very true, man. I have never heard that before, Nando, and man, that's you guys raise each other. That is real true, man.
But go ahead. I'm
So
sorry.
so for the first 7 years, all is good. You never thought about it. Was this happening in the small town of Hollister?
No, we had actually moved out of town.
Okay.
We moved out of town. We moved to Vegas. And it didn't actually happen in Vegas, but it followed me back. It followed me because we ended up moving back about a year later, and it followed me back.
Okay. So you're okay. So when you cheated, homie, was it a one night stand? Was it somebody that you've been knowing for a while? Was it somebody that you felt like, hey, you know what? I actually do kind of like this person, man. And if I do have the chance, I'm going to. I mean, what was the steps in this?
I didn't have a relationship with the person. There was never a relationship. There was obviously communication. But as far as feelings, there was never any feelings. It was just it just one thing led to another, and it happened. You know, unfortunately, it happened.
Did she know you were married, and did she know your wife?
Yeah, she did.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah, that's a rough one, man. That's a rough one. So the when it did happen, Nando, were you thinking anything like, man, I shouldn't do this, or were you just like caught up in the moment and say like, oh well, let's we're gonna do it.
I don't think I've ever thought about that.
Okay.
I guess I guess you can say I was caught up in the moment.
All right.
I just it just happened, you know, and then after that, after it happened, um, the guilt. So the guilt that I felt after, communication like completely stopped.
Mm.
Um, you know, and then later on down the road, because see what happened was it was somebody that was related to somebody that I'm related to.
Okay.
So it's the possibility of coming crossing each other again can happen. Hopefully it never does. But the possibility is there. And I, like I said, I just hope that it never does. I'm never going to put my wife or myself in that situation to where it can happen. Because I like to try to she has a little bit harder time with it. But to me, and as guys, once we get over something, like, I don't want to talk about it no more. I'm over it. Let's get past it.
Yeah.
But learning and going through it, like, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. So you're saying that afterwards the guilt was on you. You broke communication. Hey, that's it. You know what? It was just kind of a one and done thing, man. And I regret doing it, what have you. So now what's your thoughts, man? Is your thoughts, hey, I gotta tell my wife. What's your thought process, homie? I mean, what's
At that time, no, I wasn't gonna tell her. I wasn't gonna, because I knew if I told her, our marriage would probably at that point would have been done. And like I was saying earlier, no matter how bad it sounds, like, I still valued those years that I used to think of my grandparents being married for so long. So after that, that's probably when I started drinking real heavy, because I never used to really drink. I would have a couple beers here and there, at a barbecue or whatever, but that's probably when I started drinking really heavy. And that's when my addiction to alcohol kicked in, because I was using it to mask my guilt, and what I felt, what I had done. So, and I did it for years. My wife actually didn't find out about it until, she always had her suspicions, but I didn't actually admit it to her until about 7 years ago.
all right?
And that was right before, actually, that was in the transition of coming to San Diego. I was still living in Northern California, and I had already moved her and my daughters here to San Diego.
Okay. And the drinking and all that, man. Did she notice that? Did she say, like, hey, you're drinking a lot more, or you're doing this, you're acting like this, you're acting like that? Like, what's going on here?
That was probably, I would say, and I've never really thought about it until now, but that would probably be what triggered her and to start maybe being more suspicious, because I didn't drink, and then all of a sudden I'm drinking like a fish, and it just, like I said, it just carried on throughout the years, where I would just drink. I would drink more and more. I would tell her I'm going to go to the store and get a 12-pack, and I'd come back with a 12-pack of Tall Boys, and I would drink them all. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, is, like, that's why I say everybody around us thought that we had, like, our marriage was so perfect. Like, we were really good at just showing what we had to show. We had people coming to us for advice during all this, like, and of course you don't want people to know what you have done, so you would just go along with it. So
now, when you said it got worse from there, what do you mean by that?
As far as my drinking?
No, you're talking about that. Did you cheat again, or?
I did.
Okay.
I ended up, and by any means, guys, I'm not boasting, I'm not bragging, but I did a few times with different people. And it like I say, that it got worse when I say my drinking got worse because I had more guilt, more shame to cover. So it came to the point where I was drinking every day, and nobody really knew that I had an alcohol problem. Because, like I said, we were really good at just, I guess, putting up a front, and everybody thought our marriage was perfect. To
Now,
this day. Go ahead.
now it sounds like you cheated quite a few times, dog. And I'm not gonna ask you to put a number on it or anything, but it sounds like you cheated quite a few times. Um, were these all just random hyenas, or were these hyenas that you build relationships with, or was it kind of a roller coaster? Some you build relationships with, some were random. I mean, wow, how think?
They were all random.
Okay.
They were all random. So I never had a relationship with anybody other than my wife. Like, my wife is the only one that ever meant anything to me. I never, no matter what I did out in the calles, nobody ever meant anything to me. It was just something that happened, you know, and that's what it was, and so, that going into that, so
Did it ever come to a part where you were looking to cheat, where you were just freely looking for hyenas while you were married? Did it ever come to that? I mean, we could say the whole thing like, oh, well, it just happened. It just happened. But at some point, was it ever like, I'm going to go out, see if I can find me a hyena or something? Oh,
no, I can't say that. I can't say that I ever like went looking for it.
mm,
I mean, I guess it just depends on how you put that. I never intentionally left the pad saying, I'm gonna go do this today. I'm gonna go do this tonight.
but
You
if
know,
it was there, you're going to take it.
at that point in time in my life, yes,
Okay.
because I was in a really dark place.
Yeah. Yeah. And how was your marriage through all this, man? Like you said, your wife had her suspicions, right? You were drinking. Um, you know, behind her back, you were cheating. Did she ever find out that you were cheating, other than you coming out and telling her?
No, no.
Okay.
She had her suspicions, but she never. Admitted, when I admitted the first time to her, everything I had already done everything. That was just letting one thing out. I was just admitting to her. I did it in a time, and it was early in my walk. Um, and when I say my walk, I mean my walk with the Lord. Um, I did it because I thought it was going to make her feel better. I admitted to it because I thought it was going to make her feel better. And it didn't. Even though I got it off my chest, it made me
Right.
feel better. It
Yeah.
didn't. It didn't make her feel better. So that was, and like you asked, how was our marriage? I mean, our marriage was functional.
Mhm.
Um, she had been trying to get me to go to church for quite a few years, before I started going. And I was born and raised Catholic, so I had said, if I'm going to go to church, I'm going to go to a Catholic church. I'm not going to no Christian church. And finally, it came to the point where she told me, either you go to church with me, or me and the girls are gone. And that is where my life took the turn, about 7 years ago.
Was she really unhappy in the marriage? Can you see that looking back today? Can you see that
She,
she was really unhappy?
we both were. We
Okay.
both were because, and at that time, there was a time where I wasn't living at home, and that lasted, I think, about 5 months.
Okay.
But I would still come, and stay with them on the weekends, and And but there was a point in time where and she would agree, she has said this herself also, that we were basically roommates.
I've been there. I've been there, man. I believe me, I've been there. I was in a relationship quite a few years ago, long time now, right? And yeah, she didn't end up cheating on me, right? Because we were technically broken up. She
Uh,
ended up hooking up with what was supposed to be my homie. And I gotta tell you, man, it hurt. It didn't hurt that she was with somebody else because I had known that she had been with somebody else.
uh,
But knowing that she had been with this one dude that was supposed to be a homeboy of mine, that one hurt, man. That one hurt. But due to finances and the way that the lack of options that we had, we were actually roommates. And we were roommates for a while, man. And I got to tell you, it is one of the most unhealthiest environments that, at least for me, it's one of the most unhealthy environments, man, because you could try to be cordial with one another and everything like that, but it's just, man, you definitely gonna need your own space, you know. But in this case, for you, it's a little bit different because you guys are married, you guys are together now. With me, it's like, hey, we're broken off. We're done. So it's a little bit different in my case, man. But and how was that, man? Just being roommates.
it was a trip, because it like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, because in my eyes that was still my wife,
Mm.
and so I'm not going to say it was awkward, because I mean, we still got along. We still slept in the same bed as,
Oh man.
but
Damn. Yeah.
it was on the weekends. It was pretty much, she would take off with the girls, and I would jump on my bike and take off and just go party, you know.
Yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying, man. And when in situations like that, the only ones that really suffer, I mean, you suffer, she suffers, man. But whenever there's kids involved, man, they're probably the ones that suffer the most in all of
Yeah,
that, man.
yeah,
It's why I continue to preach that, hey, it's very important for your kids to see you guys loving one another.
yeah,
It's not just mom and dad as a couple at home. No, it's important for them to see you guys connect and
yeah.
hugging and kissing and telling each other that you love each other and holding hands and showing that real love as a couple, man. It's important for the kids to see that. So, and I think a lot of people lack that. Myself included.
Yeah, we've always done that. We've always showed our affection,
Mhm.
whether it be positive or negative, to each other. Um, but the girls have always, every time they see me kiss their mom, or slap her on the butt, or give her a hug and squeeze a little too tight, they're like, "Dad, that's gross. Dad, that's gross." So I can say this: they are going to know what affection looks like, you know.
Yeah,
Um, so, but like you said it, bro. The ones that suffer the most are the kids. Granted,
definitely.
I have some amazing daughters.
Mhm.
Um, that, I mean, hey, they can be a little mouthy from time to time, but that comes with the territory, But they are they are amazing, amazing girls that love the Lord, and are just trying to do better, just being positive influence. They love helping people. They love to serve the community. They love to share who the Lord is with people. So that I can say that no matter how much me and my wife thought we had lost him.
So let's talk about that ultimatum. So she said you either come to church or and the girls are gone. So right then and there, dog, is that when you said like, okay, I'm gonna go to church or what happened?
Well, I started going with her, but I went because I didn't want her to leave.
Right.
So I was faking the funk.
Mhm.
You know, I was going still smelling like a bar.
Mhm.
Um, and she would tell me, she's like, "You're really gonna go to church like that?" I was like, "Well, it's what you wanted."
Right.
So yeah, and early on when I first started going with her, I told her, you know, don't ever try to get me to stop drinking because that's gonna cause more problems with you between us. And her word.
Real quick, dog. I've heard so many vatos say that to their ladies. I've heard so many vatos say that, dog, to their hyenas. I said, don't ever tell me to stop drinking or anything, man. That's it. Dog, that right there, that just triggered me, homie. I've heard that so many times, dog, from different vatos, homie, that have said like, oh, she told me to kick back on drinking or don't drink as much. And I tell her, Charlie, don't ever tell me because that's just gonna bring problems. Damn, dog, that's a shame. I mean, that's a shame, dog. Okay, go for it.
And that's the thing is because as guys, you know, I'll keep going back to as guys, it's more of a pride thing. You know, like you're not gonna try to get me to do this. You're not gonna get me to do this. You know, but her words to me were, the funny thing is you think you have control of that.
Mm.
And I was like, you know, well, you know who I am? Of course I got control of it. You know, and but she was right. She was right. So you know, we ended up moving over here, and we thought we were moving over here because she was going to go to school. She was going to school when we first moved here, but God had other plans, you know, and had we not moved here, we wouldn't still be together. Um, that's when we moved here is when we really started going to church and really getting involved in the church. You know, and as growing up, and as bad as it sounds, but growing up, you know, Chicano, Mexicano, whatever you want to say, to be able to go to church or to a group and really express yourself to another man, like it's amazing. And being growing up in our background, we didn't do that.
Yeah.
Do that because you were a sissy or you were a chavala. Like that was something you just didn't do.
Yeah, you're showing weakness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like I tell the guys that I talk to, it's like that's not weakness. That's strength right there. When you can break it down and be vulnerable, not transparent with another man, but vulnerable with another man.
Right.
There's a difference.
Mm.
You'll see some amazing change in you. And as we started going to church more, like when we first moved here, I was still drinking, and I stopped, get my tall boys, whatever. But as the time went by, I'd be, oh, I'm gonna stop. It was a long day at work. You know, it's hot. I'm gonna stop and get me a piece on the way home. And before I know it, I was home, and I never stopped. So the more that I started getting involved in church, the more I started to grow myself to become the man that I was intended to be, that God intended me to be. Things started changing in me that I didn't even know was changing until I realized one day that I had went like 9 months without a drink.
You know, it's crazy you say that, man. A lot of people that they go through these step programs and everything. It's like they're counting the days, they're counting the weeks.
Yeah.
You're here telling me like you weren't doing that. It's just one day you just realized like, damn, I went 9 months without a drink. That's crazy, man. That's crazy to hear. But I can definitely think of certain things where, like when I said the whole thing, with my kids, when I first told them I love them, right?
Yeah.
I just realized one day, like, hey, I never told them that. Like, I don't know how that happened. I just never told them that. But I like that. I like that you didn't keep count or crossing days off the calendar or anything. You're just living life. You're just doing your thing, man. You're just moving forward and moving forward and moving forward. And one day you just take a look in the rearview mirror and say, like, damn, I got 9 months that I haven't drank. And that's wow. That's a good accomplishment right there.
And I still will have a drink from time to time. I have funny because right now when I talk about beer, my mouth waters. That was my poison. It wasn't like hard liquor or whatever. I just really love the taste of beer. Dos Equis Lager was my poison of choice.
Okay.
And I do have some cold ones in the fridge right now, but they've been in there for months, for weeks,
Right.
because I bought them. We had a little tamale party the other day and had some friends over that wanted to learn how to make tamales. So I bought a 12-pack, just in case somebody wanted a beer, and they've been sitting there ever since. Before that, I've thrown them away because they stay in the fridge so long. And that was everybody's go-to thing, back in the day. It was like they would come to the pad, and the first thing they went to was the fridge because they knew I always had a beer. It was to the point, bro, where if we would go somewhere and I didn't have a beer in my hand, my daughters would come up to me and be like, "What's wrong with you?"
Damn. Yeah.
Now we go somewhere, and if I have a beer in my hand, Dad, what's wrong with you? So it's completely flipped.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn, what an accomplishment, man. That's good stuff right there, man.
And that's all through that's all God, bro. Like all glory to God. I didn't go to no programs. I didn't, do nothing like that stuff. It was just getting involved in church. And the reason the topic that we were on was like really stuck out to me is, like I was telling you, it just seemed like it was one-sided. And I just want people to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You can get through it. You can get over it. It takes time. You have to do work. Like, if I can tell you right now, does my wife trust me 100%? I'd say she's probably in the 90% figure ballpark. I have to gain that trust back from her. But we have to be willing to do the work. We have to be willing to take the steps to get to that point. It was rocky when when I told her about the first one. I was the first. I was still living in Northern California, and then I came about a month later, and then about 6 months into living here is when I just threw it all on the table.
And how did she take that, man? Like you had told her about one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How did she take when you said, like, you know what? Here, let me just put all my cards down.
She took it better than I thought. We were in a public setting.
Oh man.
We were
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't so like it sounds. It wasn't. We were at a park,
Okay. All right. All right.
I remember the day we were at Chicano Park right here in San Diego.
There you go. All right. For those that don't know, Chicano Park is a real famous park in San Diego, man. A lot of history right there. See, when you said in a public setting, homie, I was thinking like you guys were out to dinner or something like that. I was like, oh man.
We had went out there, we took a drive, we got something to eat, and we pulled over to the park, and I that's when I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna throw all my cards on the table, and that's it. We're never gonna talk about it again.
You knew what you're doing. You knew
I
that
know,
you're
I knew I was gonna tell her. Yeah.
okay.
And she did tell me she felt some relief
Mm.
at first, and then as time goes on, the pain starts kicking in, the emotions start kicking in, so she had to deal with all that, go through all that. Luckily, like I said, we had already started going to church. We were getting involved, and basically we were out here by ourselves. I have one cousin out here that actually just moved back up north, and she had one cousin down here that she rarely sees. So we were left to get through it, to fight through it. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have nobody to go to. We didn't have our family members to run back to. Not that I would have, because even uh, through all our tribulations back home, I never used to confide in really anybody. We dealt with our problems in our camp.
Well,
You know,
was there ever any talk from you or from her of ending it,
oh yeah,
divorcing?
yeah.
Okay.
We made it to divorce court.
Oh, really?
We made it all the way to divorce court, and when this was actually right before not too far long. I mean, not too far before we moved, we had filed for divorce, and we made it to court. We went to the court, and like I said, God knew what He was doing through this whole situation, because she still hadn't known anything, but we were the last ones to be called, and there was probably about 10 couples before us that got called.
Mm.
And when they called our name, we looked at each other and we're like, our problems are nothing compared to what they're going through. And like I said, she still didn't know. Like, do we really want to do this? And we got up and we asked the judge, like, can we reschedule? And the judge, he looked at us like, even still, like in shock. And even the people in the court were like, what do you mean you want to reschedule? Like, yeah, we'll want to think about it some more. We don't want to reschedule. And they gave us another date, and we never went to it. So we joke around now and say legally we can be divorced and not even know about it. But yeah, but as far as what happened to all that paperwork, all that stuff, I'm sure they threw it away.
How's the marriage today, man? How's your guys' lives? How's your relationship? As the kids get older, I've been learning this. As the kids get older, it's kind of just you and the person.
Yeah.
When there's kids around, you get kind of busy yourself with the kids a little bit and be occupied with them and say like, hey, we're working together for the kids and kids. But as kids get older, it kind of just becomes you and her a little bit more. How's your guys' relationship today?
And that's where we're at right now. Our oldest doesn't live with us anymore.
Okay.
My youngest is 18. She works nights, so it is what. So on the weekends, because my daughter works nights, she sleeps. When we're gonna go do things. So it is just me and her, and I can say that our marriage today is striving. Our marriage is. We've never been closer than we have.
Mhm.
today that we've ever been in, and I can say our whole marriage. I truly, truly love spending time with my wife. You know, I like it when I love it when it's just me and her. You know, we can just be in the car and go for a ride or go to the store, and I tell her all the time, it's like we don't even really have to. It's great to talk, but even if we didn't talk, the fact that you're right here next to me, I'm good. You know, but you know, there's always work that can be done. You know,
Yeah.
you know,
Does she ever bring it up? Does she ever bring it up out of the blues to kind of throw guilt out there? Does she ever bring it up?
not that she brings it up, but I know when she's having a moment.
Gotcha.
Oh, I know when she's going through a hard time, and me, I'm still working on the just being there and being compassionate at that time, and just at times I still, as men, we just want to fix the problem. Like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? What do you want me to do? What needs to happen?
Yeah.
And she tells me time and time again, it's like, I don't need you to do anything except be there for me.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it does come up. It's very, very far in between now that it does. And now we just, like I say, I can tell when she's having those days. I can tell by her demeanor or body language or whatever, the way she answers me. It's like, okay, well, let's see how we can get through this today. But it like I say, it doesn't happen that often anymore.
Okay.
And she's taking classes. Um, she's actually been able to help plenty of other females that have been through the same problems, because she was able to get through it, able to heal from it. And we do that together. You know, a pastor told me one time, share your experiences so someone else doesn't have to experience them.
Oh, that's a good one.
So that, when he told me that really stuck with me, bro. And she was a little on the fence about me coming on here today.
Right.
Because we've never talked about it publicly. We've talked about it in group settings. We've talked about it with people, our go-to people, you know, and we've talked about it when we're helping other couples get through the problems that they're going through. We're marriage coaches at our church. So, you know, we help people, we coach them through on how to get through these things, because like I said, there is light at the end of the tunnel. You can overcome these things, no matter what the enemy uses to try to tear us down or tear you apart, because we've been through it all, you know, financial, marital, addictions, you know, we've everything that was designed to destroy a marriage, we've been through it, and here we are striving today because of God.
Amen to that, man. Yeah. Wow. Hey, dog. I'm glad your marriage is still striving, homie. Serio. And seems like it's just growing. You know, one last question. This one's kind of deep, man. Do your daughters know? And if they don't know, if they one day find out, man, I mean, do you think that would have an effect?
They know.
Okay.
No matter what, no matter how hard you try to keep your arguments behind closed doors, or so that they don't know about things, the walls are only so thick, bro.
Right. Yes.
So, no matter, we always try to keep our arguments in the bedroom.
Yeah.
But like I said, there was times where things got heated, emotions got overtook us, and we did. There was times where we would get into some physical arguments, in the living room or whatever the case may be. But they know what I can say now, as they know what a man should and shouldn't do. They know how a man should treat them and shouldn't treat them. So, it's unfortunate that we've gone through everything we've gone through, but I'm thankful that we went through the trials and tribulations that we went through, because it's who we are. What's made us who we are today. And
yeah, man, straight out. And man, I'm damn dog. That was great stuff, man. Yeah, because you guys could really pull the plug, and who knows where your daughters will be at today. And you guys parted ways and did your own thing, and maybe you wouldn't have a relationship with your daughters. Maybe they would hate you. Maybe that we don't know. It's a lot of what ifs, but what is where you're at today. And that's good to hear, man. That's good to hear. Fernando, anything else, carnal, that you want to tell the gente, dog, before we call it?
I just want to let everybody know, like I was saying earlier, you can get through it. You can get through it, but it takes work. It takes work. And in the world today, it's sad to say that infidelity in the world today is like the new normal.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not. I would say, people, if you're having trouble with your marriage, find a strong couple that is striving and learn from them. Learn from them. It's so easy. It's so easy to throw in the towel. What's not easy is staying together and putting in that work. But that's what we got to do. If you want your family to stay together and to strive, to grow, you got to put in that work.
Yeah. Yeah, big time, dog. Of course, every situation is different. Every situation is different. But yeah, today man, dog, it just seems like it's just, hey, everybody, let's just sleep around and all that, and it's just like, you're so quick to divorce. Divorce is way up here. It's just it's sad, man. It seems like morals and values and all that good stuff has just kind of been thrown out the window, and it's just, hey, a free for all. Everybody just do whatever, and get married, get divorced, get married again, get divorced again. And look, I'm in that category. I'm on my second marriage, man. So I would like to bring back a little bit more of that family values and morals, man, and holding together and all. And I'm glad you came on here, Holmes. I'm glad you shared your story. You reached out to me to share this, because like Pastor has said, share the story, share your experience, so nobody else has to experience. So hey, gracias, Fernando, for coming on here, big dog. Definitely would like to have you come back on here for other things. I see behind you got a bike back there, man.
I know you like that flag back there too.
Yeah, how about this one right there, huh?
Yeah, but we know how that game went in the beginning of the season.
Oh man, it always goes like that, man. I'm not gonna come on here and try to lie, dog. The Raiders always got usually always got the Steelers number, man. Hey, Fernando, but sabes que, carnal? Hey, I'll be definitely praying for you, big dog, and yeah, may you continue to grow and keep growing, man, and keep helping other couples, man, get through their issues, all like
I appreciate that, bro, and you too. Pastor David was saying, and he was saying how he can see what's inside of you. It's been shown to him who you're called to be. And what I would say to that, bro, is stop holding back.
Oh man.
Stop holding back.
We gotta end this video, man. No, man. Hey, gracias. And
you have a way. You have a way. Sorry, bro. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you have a way of talking. You have a way of reaching people, and God wants to use that, bro.
Pastor David is definitely a mentor of mine. Actually, probably the only mentor of mine. Probably the only person I look up to, man. And I just realized that, I don't know, 8 months ago or so, depending on when people are watching this. But yeah,
He's a good man.
Yeah, he really is, man. And I've spent time with them. I've, went out to eat with them and everything. Great man. It's definitely somebody that I really look up to. So, hey, Fernando, well, we're going to call it right there, big dog. Definitely want to kind of have you back on. We'll have you back on for other reasons, man. But you want to give any shout outs to anybody, big dog?
Just to obviously to the Most High, to God for just bringing us through, to my wife, my beautiful wife of 22 years. It'll be 23 years this year, and I just thank her for sticking by my side, and to my girls too, they know who they are and what they mean to me. So.
Amen to that, man. As always, familia, live your life like you're on the road. Be aware of your surroundings and always keep a safe distance. Blood makes you dead, but loyalty makes you family. So next time, this is the Thecholotrucker, my man Fernando. Over and out.